10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6.
Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is September 19th and we're going to start today with this post that Valdorf made in governance yesterday. So here it says, it's a draft RPIP to increase the GMC and IMC splits to the intended ones per vote text. Actual RPIP was lower because I'm bad at maths. One-time expense to make up for the lower splits in past reward periods, and increase IMC split leaning on the lower end of Jasper's survey for now. And Vaca says agree with all three. So then here we have a forum post that Val made about this as well. So this was from a couple of days ago. So he says, I'm struggling a little to make this concrete for a vote. I think Vaca and Wax concerns about the team spend not yet being defined are valid. I think Schifrin's uncertainty about the GMC will be a lot better understood after 2 to 3 cycles versus the current 1 cycle. There's also an argument to be made for voting on the component parts, like fix the split to intent going forward, fix historical splits, and add to IMC split, maybe with the amount as part of vote, but obviously there's a cost there in complexity. And then he goes on to say, I'm currently leaning towards a single vote with the correct split for the future, add an extra 16% to the IMC split. This is 50% per the diverted initial ODAO funds metric Jasper was using. It's aimed to be significant but conservative. And he says the expense to make up for past periods being lower than intended. And then here the splits for context, it says the current splits are like this. So grants and bounties gets 27%. Incentives, which is incentive management committee, gets 27%, grants and bounties gets 16%, and reserve treasury gets 57%. So the intended split would be incentives getting 34%, grants and bounties getting 20%, and the reserve treasury getting 45.5%. And then the proposed incentives would be incentives getting 50%, grants and bounties getting 20%, and the reserve treasury getting 29.5%. So I really like these splits. Val says that he made a draft RPIP for expense for this, and then there's the difference. He says, I'll give time here for a bit of commentary before putting up a sentiment poll. Note that we won't go to snapshot until RPIP 4 stuff is resolved. And of course the RPIP 4 stuff is the stuff with the voting intention of 10 to 150% effective or 0 to 150% effective RPL staked. If we have a look at the actual RPIP stuff, here is text that you can see. It doesn't really make much sense to me, but if you want to have a look at that, then go ahead. So here's like the old lines 190 to 194, and it just shows about the divides, I guess, and then the new lines here would kind of come into place. I'm not sure exactly how it all works. I think someone needs to give me a lesson in GitHub work, but until then, you can poke around it yourself. The links, of course, are in the description below. Okay, next we have a couple of updates from the team working with their the stuff that they're doing for the next Rocket Pool upgrade. First we have this information from Joe. He says, today I get to start building Houston support into the smart node. Yay. He Joe's of course starting to build smart node version 2, which is going to be like a web UI based it can be a web UI based smart node stack instead of the command line one that we have right now. So you just need to use the command line to get it going, and then everything will be like a lot more intuitive after that. But here there'll be other stuff going into that as well, with like the contracts and the changes that are going to be made will be going into the smart node as well. So Joe here says that he's starting work on that, so that's going really well and on track. And then here Joe said, I've been working on Houston for about 2 hours, and I can immediately tell you that I hate smart node version 1 now. I spoiled myself with version 2 and it makes me sad. So hopefully version 2 is going to be a really big increase, like in quality. Joe basically said that this was going to be removing any of the like wait, what's the word, tech debt or something like that, development debt, like all the old stuff that kind of like was left in the smart node that really didn't need to be there anymore. So he's like removing all of that, like starting fresh, as if he said basically it's as if he was writing the smart node stack from scratch. And it's going to be very much in like Joe's vision, and Joe's vision is cool, so I'm really happy about that. So those are some updates from Joe, and then we also had some updates from Kane here. Joe says, good news everyone, initial testing shows my PDAO proposal tree generation matches Kane's, and he's here to tell you all about it, I'm sure. Here Invis says, okay, but when contracts? And Kane says the work in progress contracts are here. And then Invis says, okay, but when documentation? And then Joe posts the reference doc. So basically what's going on here is that they're working on the on-chain voting stuff, and they're showing really good progress, and it's coming along really nicely. So that is really exciting. Dukey says on-chain PDAO imminent, and then here Invis says, okay, but when new website? And then Joe says, but here there's another link to GitHub where you can read the RPIP. So it gives information. This is the one that we covered on Rocket Fuel a while ago, but I think here there's some minor edits from Valdorf that were incorporated into this, but you can go and read all the information that you need from here, and I think there's some really good stuff. So if you are curious about what it's going to look like, go to the RPIP, because I think that's where the main information is going to be. But it's really nice that Joe and Kane are both kind of like showing off their work. And yeah, there's a little funny thing here before about Phil Kez asking, like, did you teach the baby how to code yet? Asking Invis, because Invis helped in a childbirth yesterday. Kane said, my kid is 4 and still can't code. I'm so disappointed. And then Phil Kez says, maybe get a new one. And Kane said, I did. He's only 2 though, and he can't code yet either. And Invis says, already wasted. Try again next. And then Kane says, okay, be right back. So that was a nice little conversation that happened there. But anyway, yeah, Kane and Joe both showing off their work, so that was really good to see. Next we have some new updates from Pancake Swap. For those of you who've been watching Rocket Fuel for a while, you know that Pancake Swap is an ongoing IMC partnership where we give RPL for them to incentivize pools. So here we had a new RPL syrup pool is now live on Ethereum Pancake Swap. So you stake your cake and you earn RPL, and the 500 cake stake limit lasts for 48 hours. And then there's details on the pool. And then there's another one as well where you get some changes in the RETH stuff. So it says 3-1 lift off a rocket pool on Ethereum's Pancake Swap, stake RETH ETH, a 0.05 liquidity pool, and earn cake a multiplier, so the multiplier has been upgraded. And then he says stake RETH BTC and earn cake as well, so you're getting staking rewards for RETH built into that as well. So this is some really good stuff here, and I think that Pancake Swap's been a long-term partner now for the IMC, and I'm happy to see that we're still working on them, and they are putting the rewards are still looking good. Okay, next we have some information about Holesky. People were kind of proposing stuff. It's still kind of going on, but there's limits to what's happening on the current version of it. Let me see. I got an update here from Vaka. He says that 6 rocket pool nodes are still valiantly testing in a non-finalized chain in the dark without a working explorer. They'll probably never see a finalized block, since the exit queue for the low balance validators will take some months to clear. So yeah, people are still kind of like, I guess, getting their systems up and running. But the interesting thing here is that we now have a new launch date for Holesky, which will be on the 28th of September. And then that information is kind of being shared out like with the community people to get them to get ready again. Patera says that he's going to stay on Team Holesky Classic, so yeah, he'll be the only person validating and attesting to that chain when there's no one else left. But yeah, it's really great that we'll have another try at this on the 28th, and of course I'll cover that on Rocket Fuel because there's so many people in the Rocket Pool community who are going to be working on Genesis for that. Okay, next we're going to talk about Lido a little bit, and here we've got a couple of tweets here. One from Ryan Beckermans, who says crypto moves fast, and it seems like the history of Lido's monopolistic roots may be fading from the cultural memory. Here's one of the best views into Lido's internal vision and philosophy from the co-founder Vasily. And he says, I do not think that a balanced diversity of liquid staking protocol is a worthy goal to pursue. Lido in its current form is not the protocol I would want to get 80% of the stake, but we will work on making Lido worthy of it. And then Brian says, this is a dictator for life, telling you he understands that being a dictator for life is a very important and hard job, and he's going to do everything he can to live up to it, but the alternatives like democracy would not be worthy goals to pursue. And then there's a link to the tweets that Vasily has there, kind of like how they want to shape their strategy and stuff. And then Hani Abu takes a screenshot of that, saying just in case it gets deleted. And other people kind of have some feedback here as well about like how Ryan's argument might not be the strongest, etc. And Nixo says, holy moly, nice job digging this one up. Hi, yes, we'd like to be the monopolists, please. And then there was more digging up that was going on as well. So here there's a thread by Evan Van Ness, who's been kind of like putting through Lido information for the last few weeks. He says 3 scariest words in English language. Super Fizz was right. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff that he's kind of been updating with that, and he's been updating a thread. So every couple of days he's kind of talking about Lido and what it's looking like and stuff like that. And he says Lido's dominance is down slightly against the trend since we started speaking up about stopping the attack, and the number goes down. Happy merge day. Ethereum community is fighting back against the attackers, so their share is actually going down. And then Evan retweeted Ryan's tweet that I just read out for you all. But then Jordan here had this really interesting screenshot of Vasily as well. So this was from March 2022. And then the Rocket Man says, how convenient for you to think that competition and diversity is an unworthy goal to pursue. And Vasily says, it's not convenient. That's the thesis Lido has been designed around. Before we even had a single line of code, there'll be one winning staked ETH token, and it's not necessarily going to be a non-custodial one. So that's like Vasily's like starting point, where he says that there'll be one token and we're going to make it Lido, or STETH, I guess. And then the Rocky Man says that thesis is antithetical to Ethereum. If Lido is unaligned with the Ethereum community at large, it's tantamount that the Ethereum community understand this. If Lido succeeds in becoming a monopoly, it will undermine everything the community has worked for. So the caption that Jordan has is, when people tell you who they are, believe them. And there's nothing to argue, there's nothing to show that Lido's stance has changed, because they're still holding on to this idea that they want to be the one LST to rule them all. And the fact that this information is getting out and like people are really digging into like old tweets, I think is a really good way of showing that Lido is still what they always were, and we should definitely be paying attention to that. So yeah, kudos to Evan and Ryan and all the other people who are bringing attention to this. For the longest time I thought it was just a Rocket Pool community with people like Jasper and others kind of highlighting these concerns, but I'm really happy now that Ethereum core devs are speaking up about this. Like some of the like leaders in the Ethereum thought space like Vitalik and others are speaking about this. So I'm really hoping that it carries on steam, because Lido shares slightly coming down, and I hope it comes down quicker. But the fact that it's coming down is definitely something to be happy about. Like, I'm not going to be happy until it's below 22% though, but that might be a year away. So let's see how it all goes. Okay, and finally, we're going to finish with this update from Stader. So, a little while ago, Stader launched on mainnet, and one of the immediate criticisms was that Stader was doing some not good stuff with their node key management and withdrawal address management, because their node address was the withdrawal address, and that of course has huge security ramifications if your node gets compromised, your node key gets compromised, or even the hardware itself gets compromised. So here Stader, they gave a little milestone since their last update, and then they've got 20,000 ETH now as their TVL. And then here this says, firstly, the smart contract upgrade proposal to change the withdrawal address management. If this proposal passes, only the current withdrawal address will be able to set a new withdrawal address, removing therefore some security issues that could appear in our current system if the node address was compromised. So it looks like they're actually working towards fixing that. And then there's another proposal here from them as well about instead of buying the SD token, you could just borrow it from other people and use that to stake. So zero SD token exposure. But anyway, if you want to read any of those things, you can go and look at the Stader forums. But I'm going to end today's episode here. Thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.